Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight is the weekly True Crime and Chill, and joining me tonight is the Liz. Liz, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just have to say, what is that shirt you're wearing?
This is the 5-foot sign that I'm going to get for my front yard for election season. Jackson Unetti 24. The only choice. The only choice.
Love it. Love it. And that was courtesy of Fringe on Main.
Thank you. I was going to say I forgot the name of the store, so thank you.
Yep, Fringe on Main. So, yeah, and I have the same shirt, and I've been wearing it. Oh, my God. Especially with what we're talking about tonight. You dressed for the occasion.
I know. I was going to say, I feel like half of what we're going to talk about is Karen Reed related, so I think that makes perfect sense.
Gosh. So joining us later tonight will be Paul from the Paulcast, and hopefully Mr. Beckham, if he wakes up from his nap and figures out which scented candle to light. I don't know. Apparently it's a whole process. So yeah, for all of you who don't know, Beckham was once like 30 minutes late because he didn't know which candle to light. And if you think I'm joking, I'm certainly not. Oh man, so we have a lot of true crime news to talk about, but before we dive into that, just a few housekeeping things. There will not be a True Crime and Chill next Friday. I will be at an event and it's YouTube related, and I really hope to get some good content for you guys there. So stay tuned for that. So I'll let you guys know what day that will be next week. There should be a special episode next week, earlier in the week on my channel. So definitely make sure you tune in for that. Otherwise, I think that's the only housekeeping things. Let's check to see who is here. James Watson. Oh gosh, grab some lube and slide on down to that like button. James,
stick around
I
for the rest of the show.
I kind of want to give that a star, but I don't want that just like hanging there like the whole show either. But you get a thumbs up. You get a thumbs up for that.
Yeah, stick around for the rest of the show.
Oh, God. Yeah, if y'all thought that episode was going to go by without us talking about Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, et cetera, insert 20 more names, we're doing it. We're doing it. Hey, Renee, good to see you. Allison, hello. Auntie Mimi is here. Hey, Auntie Mimi.
Hi, Mimi.
Nipples. K-Dog. Let's see. James, Liz is already on fire tonight. She is always on point.
Thank you. I try.
Not just tonight. Allison says, awesome shirt. Allison is the one that made my Danny's After Dark one. The one with me and Yanetti.
I love that one. Hi, Allison. I love that shirt. It's amazing.
Yep. So Allison has her Etsy shop. That's where I got that. The Karen Reed mug and another Karen Reed shirt that I will wear probably sometime in the next couple of weeks. I wanted to give a little bit of a break, but awesome shop. So shout out to Allison for that. So, oh gosh, I don't know. There's so much Karen Reed. There's so much. Let's just dive on in, I suppose. So to break it down in regards to Karen Reed herself. So an attorney for Karen Reed this week has petitioned the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court seeking the dismissal of 2 charges, including murder, that she faces in the death of Officer John O'Keefe. The brief filed this past Tuesday to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court argues trying her again on charges of second-degree murder and leaving the scene of the crime would be unconstitutional double jeopardy. So we've been talking about this for weeks now, that's where the defense is going, and it's moving up and up now in regards to the courts. So as of right now, the Norfolk District Attorney's Office has until October 16th to file its response. What do you think will happen, Liz? Or is it too soon to tell? I don't know.
I think it's too soon to tell. I'm not totally clear on, so I haven't done a lot of reading on this. So the defense petitions this to the Supreme Court of the state Supreme Court, and then they get to hear. So the prosecution gets to answer. The DA's office gets to answer. Do they just get to submit they just get to submit why they think that the Supreme Court shouldn't review
That
it.
would be my guess.
I was trying to figure that out. So I guess the Supreme Court won't even start considering that until later in October.
Yeah.
I'm not a law expert, obviously. I don't see it as double jeopardy. So
yeah, I don't think they're going to dismiss the charges.
No, me neither.
So quickly, Tony L has come in the chat. Hello, Tony. I do have Tuka back here. I think Leia is up at the cat tower over there. So yeah, you'll see some cats tonight. But yeah, I don't think that they're going to dismiss it. I think they're reaching, but they're doing their job. They're pushing it out
to do exactly.
Yeah. So we will keep you guys posted on that end. In regards to, all right, switching now to law enforcement who handled this case. And oh my gosh, do we have so much to talk about.
So bad.
A-time traveler, good to see you. Oh God, let's dive on it. So for those of you who are in either Massachusetts or the New England area and you've been reading about this, you already know, like Allison, for example, I really can't wait to hear what you think about this. And oh God, because yeah, we've messaged about this. Us and Beckham have messaged about this. We've gotten Paulcast, and I mean, Paulcast for a Canadian, he is into the Karen Read case. It is what it is. Let's see. Quickly, K-Dog has a comment. Back when we followed the Constitution, it'd be double jeopardy. The jury found her not guilty on those specific charges. K-Dog, yeah, the problem is, like, I know we've talked about this now for a few weeks, is it wasn't mentioned in the actual court. So it wasn't like they came forward and said, we're unanimous on 2. It wasn't until after the fact when there was already a mistrial, and then one by one, some of the jurors went forward to the defense. My question is, does that mean that Judge Bev was not clear enough? To me, that says she was not clear enough in her instructions to the jurors.
Right.
So in regards to like Allison saying, I'm hoping that they interview jurors. I'm hoping that they do too, because me personally, if it wasn't made clear to the jurors that they can be unanimous on some of the counts and not all, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do agree with that.
Yeah. And K-Dog saying right here, yeah, that's on the judge. Yeah. Nuffles is saying we don't hear anything about it at all here. So Nuffles, you're in Australia, I believe, if I'm right. My mind is not as sharp today as it usually is, so my apologies. But I believe Nuffles is in Australia. So imagine if Australia was broadcasting the Karen Read case. That would be.
How widely around the rest of the country is it being? I mean, I think it might have had a couple of like national news spots, but nothing major.
When I went to Nashville for CrimeCon and, got back, did my thing, the Airbnb host I stayed with actually contacted, I think I mentioned she contacted me.
I remember
because they were, at that point, they were broadcasting it live on the channel, like when they were waiting for the verdict.
That's crazy.
So she messaged me and she's just like, yeah, like I only heard of it because of you. And it was, they were broadcasting it there. Or when I say crazy. Broadcasting it, meaning we were all watching that ceiling fan for about how many days?
Ceiling fan.
I think that ceiling fan
is going to be burned into my memory, along with I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
Gosh. Yeah. I can't even.
Burned into my brain for the rest of eternity.
No kidding. All right. So Kevin Albert. Oh gosh, Liz, we have a lot to unpack here. Yeah. So you guys might recognize that Albert name. So Detective Kevin Albert is one of the police officers from the Canton Police Department, also the brother of the homeowner at Fairview Drive, where John O'Keefe was found deceased, or well, technically was still just clinging on, but then passed away. So Kevin Albert will now face a 3-day suspension without pay. Let me repeat that, a 3-day suspension without pay. This was after he was suspended with pay. This is due to him being under investigation for his alleged actions the night that he went drinking with Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor in 2022. Remember, we heard about this because Trooper Proctor was on the stand during the trial reading those text messages between him and Kevin. Just to recap, Trooper Proctor testified about his relationship to the Albert family. Remember, he kind of initially was like, oh, I don't really know them. And then it was like, well, oh God. So he went on to describe, Trooper Proctor did, a night of drinking with Kevin Albert, and there were text messages the next morning. They were working a cold case together. In the text, Proctor told Kevin Albert that he'd found his badge in his police cruiser. Kevin told him leave it in the mailbox, and then said, quote, "Did I take my gun?" End quote, and including a wincing face emoji. So because of this, again, this all came out at trial when it's like drinking on the job, you don't have your badge, where's your issued gun? That's a problem. Well, in July, of course, now there has to be some type of looking into it. So in July, Kevin was placed on paid leave amid an independent investigation. Earlier this month, the department said it decided on a formal discipline for Kevin. However, they did not state what that was. So sorry, my street is loud right now. Canton Police Chief Helena Rafferty looked into several possible violations that Kevin committed. They determined that he did violate policies of possession or use of alcohol and conduct unbecoming of an officer in a report released earlier this week. Quote, "Kevin ordered and drank alcohol on duty without authorization," end quote. The report, however, did not find evidence that Kevin had committed other violations, including criminal conduct or misplacing his badge and his gun. So based on interviews with Kevin's supervisor, it was determined that these items were locked in Proctor's marked police cruiser, and he was not obligated to report them missing. My freaking God. So again, all eyes are on Massachusetts with this case and those who handled it. And so Kevin Albert, 3-day suspension without pay.
After he just got a 2 or 3 month paid vacation while they investigated this. Mm-hmm. It's a joke. It's a complete farce. Mm-hmm. They're only doing something because they have to do something. It's a joke. At this
point, just don't even give them a punishment. Like, with the amount of overtime that police officers get, this is nothing. It's 3 days without pay.
No, it's nothing at all.
That's nothing. Nothing.
So I'm going to bring up a really brief side thing to this. I know we have something else that's related to get into next that you're going to get into. But if I can find what I need to find, I saw a news item a couple days ago about a police officer in another town down the south. It's all on the South Shore. Why is this on the South Shore? It's like Brockton or somewhere. So maybe not quite. Anyway, this guy was accused of causing or being part of a crash while he was under the influence, I believe while he was on duty, and he was slapped with 3 days of pay. He had to give up 3 days of pay. So if you or I did something like that, whether we were a cop, we would be arrested and we would be charged with operating under the influence. But these cops get these little joke slaps on the wrist of 3 days of no pay. It's a joke. It's not just Canton. It's a complete joke.
Yeah.
So
it's it's no secret that Massachusetts has a very long history of corruption within law enforcement. And again, not every law enforcement person here in the state of Massachusetts is corrupt. We're not saying that. But this case just really put a big spotlight on the corruption that's here and the inadequacy, whether you think this is a cover-up or if you're it's not a cover-up, but then you got to say everybody law enforcement wise that's connected to this case just really doesn't know how to do their job. It's one or the other. It's right. One or the other.
Yep.
So when this breaking news, 3-day suspension without pay, which after you just said, he just had months off with pay.
Yeah. He got a free vacation. He got to take a vacation while still getting paid.
And that's our tax money hard at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Allison saying it's a joke. Let's see. You guys are just making really weird jokes in the. Of course, James Watson is involved in like the really cheesy jokes.
Dad jokes. Who doesn't love a good dad joke? Tell us some good dad jokes, guys.
Let's see. Yeah, Allison. Who, if anyone? God, with Lally. My God, I'll never forget. Who, if anyone, was driving the ambulance or whatever it was? It was like, my God. Yeah. This is just incredible, absolutely incredible. And I saved, before I forget, I didn't drop it in the document, but oh, nope, that's for Bukkake. We're going to get to Bukkake next, but it was the actual department personnel order disciplinary action report for Bukkake that I took a screenshot of.
Oh, I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's only one page, but for the wording of it, it's just like you're reading it and you're like, just
Like,
just
why?
don't even give them the slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Like, don't even make the effort because you don't mean it.
It's a joke. It's like, oh, well, it's kind of come to our attention. The public's aware of it. We have to do something. So is doing nothing better than doing this? I kind of think doing nothing is better.
I agree.
Than this
is
joke.
More infuriating.
Yeah.
This is absolutely more infuriating. And you made a really spot on comment when we were talking about this behind, kind of off camera. I mean, granted, we live here, so we talk about this case every day anyway. We message back and forth, but you really were spot on in your comment about kind of like comparing it to like the South with like the good old boys.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this seems like. Like you were spot on with this, and it's just it's very frustrating.
And I know with the Sandra Birchmore case, I had noticed that the new chief of police in Canton had made a statement about this because they're investigating whatever happened. I think it was Canton, and I noticed it was a woman. I'm like, oh, cool, and look her up, and she's like second generation Canton police chief or police detective. So again, I'm not saying she's trying to not do her job and trying to cover up for people, because she really may not be. I don't know her from whatever, but she's a good old boy essentially. Mm-hmm. She grew up with it. Her father was a detective or something for Canton, not even just another department somewhere, like Canton specifically. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just very intertwined. Everybody knows everyone. Mm-hmm. It's it's becoming more and more apparent, not just to us who live here, but for people who don't, who are seeing this and watching this. It's just it's very frustrating. And to keep going on that momentum. Oh God, I went to say Bukkake. I was looking at James's comment about Bukkake. Are you discussing Diddy already? No, James, you are in for a treat tonight, because we have an update about detective state police law enforcement officer Yuri Buchanek, aka Bukkake, and then we're going to be talking about Diddy later. So no, James Watson, you are in for a dang treat tonight. Let's see. So Bukkake, what we learned this week. If you're not already frustrated with Kevin Albert getting a slap on the wrist, here we go. Hey Capone, welcome. Good to see you. You came and just look at this. We go to talk about Bukkake and Capone jumps in the chat. Timing, coincidence? I don't think so. So Massachusetts State Police officer Yuri Buchanek, aka Bukkake, is now facing disciplinary action. Let's get into this disciplinary action, shall we? So, and if you're wondering, or if you weren't following the case, what is he getting disciplined for? So this is for his failure to reprimand his subordinate, Trooper Michael Proctor, for the inappropriate text messages sent during the Karen Reed investigation. So just a quick recap, Proctor had to read out loud on the witness stand his text messages. So we will not be saying them as is, but just a quick reminder for those of you who missed it. He called her, quote, a whack job. See you next Tuesday. He also said, sure, the owner of the house will receive some shit. One of his friends said, sure, the owner of the house will receive some shit in regards to where John O'Keefe was. Proctor replied, nope, homeowners of Boston Cop 2. Proctor texting his sister that he hopes Karen Reed kills herself, talking about Karen Reed's Crohn's disease, talking about her by her name and Officer John O'Keefe's name. And in court, Proctor testified that he sent a text while going through Reed's phone to his coworkers. So his supervisor, so Bukaki was in this text thread saying that he found, quote, no nudes so far, end quote. Again, Bukaki was one of the troopers on that text chain. And Liz, I don't know if you remember this or anybody else who watched the trial. Again, if you're going to lie, be better at it. Get your story straight. Yep. So I remember, was it Alan Jackson, I believe, that said to Trooper Proctor, like, were you disciplined or spoken to for this? And he basically said no. And then one of the supervisors later on gets on the stand and is like, oh yeah, he was spoken to, chain of command. Okay.
Yeah.
Which one? Clearly you didn't.
Yeah, it never happened.
So now that we've recapped the text messages, what is his disciplinary action? He has to forfeit 5 vacation days for his failure to, quote, properly supervise and or counsel a subordinate for sending inappropriate correspondence regarding an ongoing investigation, end quote. Forfeiting 5 vacation days. As we know, so he's a state, Massachusetts State Police, he's a state employee. He's been there long enough. He, I'm sure, has a lot of vacation time. That losing 5 days means nothing.
Yeah.
And again, it's just, and it was in the news. I'm not really including these notes in here because it's just unbelievable. But if you guys go to the Turtle Boy YouTube channel and Turtle Boy blog, there was the whole thing with the dang rubber duckies with Bukaki. Oh my God, it's just wild that this is like what's going on in our state right now. Look that up if you want a fun story. I'm just like, this is so ridiculously stupid. We're just not talking about it here tonight. But I do have Bukaki's the release from the personnel order. But before I read that, hey, Chaos, good to see you. Hey, Sadie Earp, welcome. Before I read the personnel order, Liz, what is your thought on this disciplinary action?
It's the same thing. They feel like they have to do something, so they're going to do something. They feel like it's going to be good optics, but honestly, I don't think they're helping. I don't think there's anything they can do to help their optics at this point with this whole thing, Yeah. I
love how both of these came out the same week too. So it's like,
I know
they could have stretched it out to make it not as like incredibly frustrating to like those of us who are like, this is the punishment.
Yeah. The real punishment is all of these cases that are getting fucked up because of these people and their idiocy now. And it doesn't even mean that they fucked anything up in other cases, but obviously, since this has now come out that this inappropriateness has taken place in at least this investigation, it's like the state drug lab scandal. Now everything that they've investigated is going to be called into question, and the smart defense attorneys are going to be like, oh, we can use this. We can request text messages. We can see if there's anything inappropriate, and it's happening.
It is. It's absolutely happening. Is. Yeah, which is very smart of the defense attorneys for all these cases that haven't been tried yet, because yes, especially the ones that Trooper Proctor worked. Oh my God, those are like really being reviewed.
Yeah.
Hey Troy, good to see you. Let's see. K-Dog says cops are lining up to work in Boston with those benefits. Oh my God. I was saying to one of my coworkers today, because now that October is next week, in regards to the office, starting to decorate the fall stuff. And I said that I was like, I think I know what my Halloween costume is going to be this year. A Stop and Shop brown paper bag and some red Solo cups. And if anybody says, what the heck is that? I'll be like, oh, I'm a crime scene analyst from Mass State Police.
You should do it.
Oh, God. Capone says the real punishment were the furries we met along the way. Jesus Christ. So is there a kitty?
Yeah, she's yelling at me and trying to climb over all the junk in this room, and she's meowing.
Can we get okay, I'm going to take myself off camera.
Come here, baby. There's Betsy. Oh, now she's just gonna try and climb. But she was yelling. Yeah, she was yelling at me from the door.
I was like, I guarantee that's Betsy.
Yes. She's been getting kind of, I don't know if it's just old age or our other kitty passed a couple months ago, and she didn't love him, but she definitely is missing like him being here, you know? So I don't know what part of her additional screaminess is like kitty dementia and age, or just partially like, where's Bootsy? Why isn't he here? The poor
Bootsy,
thing.
rest in peace, Bootsy. I think you're wrong on all of that. I think Betsy's just like, who does mom think she is the star of the show right now? I'm the star of the show.
Yeah. Yep. Probably.
Betsy is a queen bee, and
oh yeah,
mistake.
she will not let you forget it.
100%.
Now she's gone, and she'll be back again, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. She needs her moment.
Yes.
We have a lot of ahs and ohs for Betsy. K-Dog, if these guys were around in Paul Revere's day, we'd be part of England today. K-Dog, I'm giving you a star for that. That is so spot on. So, okay, let me read and it's just one page. It's like really just like 3 paragraphs. The personnel order disciplinary action report for Bukaki.
Oh God.
So Sergeant Yuri Bukanek, ID number 3543, Division of Investigative Services, SPDU Norfolk, having waived his right to trial by trial board for violating Articles 3.76 and 5.82 of the rules and regulations governing the Department of State Police, is hereby ordered to comply with the following disciplinary action. Sergeant Bukaki, I'm just going to say Bukaki for Christ's sakes, on or about August 17th, 2022. On or about, come on. Like, this was not a one-time, Jesus Christ. No. Yeah, because that's the only time, like, I'm sure these go, oh yeah, this is the one and only time we texted inappropriately about the job. Okay.
No.
On or about August 17th, 2022, did fail to conform to work standards established for his rank, title, or position. This occurred when Sergeant Bukaki failed to properly supervise and or counsel a subordinate for sending inappropriate correspondence regarding an ongoing investigation, and then it cites the direct violation. Sergeant Bukaki, during the employee evaluation period between July 15th, 2022 and October 15th, 2022, failed to properly utilize the employee evaluation system. This occurred when Sergeant Bukaki failed to properly document the inefficiencies of a subordinate according to the department's EES manual. This action is in direct violation of Article so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. As a result of his action, Sergeant Bukaki shall forfeit 5 days of accrued leave.
Wow, too bad for him. I'm sure he's crying about it.
Okay, there's a sentence in here that is just screaming out to me that he failed to properly document the inefficiencies of a subordinate. Properly document to me implies that he documented but just didn't do it correctly. No, there was no documenting.
I was going to say he didn't do anything. This is normal locker room talk between all these guys, I guarantee. Oh. And it's going to just continue to happen. I mean, maybe it's not happening right now because now they're all under investigation, but you know that this group of guys, this is just normal. This is how they always carry on, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
And we, like, no matter what job people have, whether it's, something like that, you work for the state or you work at the mall and you're, with your friends, with your coworkers. And that was so Boston.
Your coworkers. I love my coworkers.
Coworkers. We all have those moments when we one, don't put it in writing. And two, when you have a job like the Mass State Police and what you do for a living is investigations where you go through, stop and think. Just, it is what it is.
Yep.
So yeah, that is, again, holding our state troopers accountable. So Bukaki, and again, and I know not everybody is a fan of Aiden Kearney, Turtle Boy, but I do have to give credit where credit is due. He is really on top of this and posting. And yeah, he posted something earlier this week too, where bukkake was on the street where I'm totally blanking the name right now. Oh my gosh.
What?
Brian Albert's house.
Oh. I don't know. My brain's.
I said it earlier too. It will come to me like in 2 seconds. But that he was on the street and
Fairview. That's it.
Fairview. Thank you. And it's like, what are you doing there now? What are you doing there now? What new? There's new homeowners. Y'all sold the house.
Yeah.
All right. I apologize to everybody in advance. The show's just, it's about to go downhill. So here goes my ratings. Hi, Paul.
Oh, snap.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Paul, you haven't been on camera with Liz yet, right?
I was going to say, I don't think we've ever been on chill at the same time before.
Oh my God. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
All right. Go Bruins.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Oh God. I'm stuck. There's 2 of you here. Look what I'm wearing. Look what
I
brought
noticed.
for you guys.
You're going to make him leave. Don't say that shit.
Paul, you look so weird with a sports hat.
Hey, I know. Every once in a while, you got to switch things up, right?
Look at Allison. Hello, never met. No, Allison, you're not missing out on anything. I assure you.
No, you really aren't. When she said that the ratings were about to go down, well, boy, she was not joking.
Oh man. Let's see. So, couple of quick comments. Hey, Azriel, good to see you. Tony Stewart, hello. Tony, we got Tuka in the back here. Leia up in the other cat tower. Let's see. So Liz's cat, you just missed Liz's cat, Betsy, wanted to make an appearance. So, all right.
Well,
so,
then I'm going to leave.
She'll be back. Give her a few minutes. She'll be screaming at me again.
All right.
So, Paul, I know we've kind of been keeping you up to date in regards to the punishments in regards to the few law enforcement officers here with Karen Reed. Again, I know you're not from here, but outside looking in, what is your thoughts on that?
I mean, well, it's not surprising. It doesn't seem like, and not because it's Boston or anything like that, just that law enforcement would cover its own ass.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I've seen, because I haven't followed it as closely, obviously, as you guys have, but the stuff that you guys have been sending me has been like gratuitous. It's been like, and just blatant, and just so like, there's certain things where it's just, there's like nothing you can do about it. It's when it really shows that you're at the mercy of the powers that be. Because if you get caught in the wrong situation, they will try and fuck you. And that's what you've seen there. Like, it's just, it's shocking. But the thing is too, they'll just look straight in the camera and be like, no. It's like it's like there's a fucking monster standing behind them. And you go, there's a fucking monster behind you. No, there's not. It's like, what's that? And they look at it, no, nothing. Just a fucking hairy dude. Like, it's totally weird.
Yeah. So, Paul, I know you got into the Karen Reed trial like the week of deliberations, but when Trooper Proctor, the one that said all those horrific things and had to read those text messages, just going off of what you said, because you were so spot on, Liz, you know exactly what I'm talking about with this, where we had to sit for hours as viewers and listen to the text to his friends, to his sister who was friends with the Albert. Like, we listened to it all. And then he proceeds to say after that, I don't discuss investigations with family and friends. I'm like, what?
It's next level. I saw similar stuff too. And I think it's just the name of the game for this stuff. When I was watching the Baldwin trial, right? Like, it was all just, that's all it is these weird hoops and people covering their own ass. And we've seen it all the way back to the Manson stuff that we're doing. There's just all sorts of weird little tweaks and people like covering for each other. Man, yeah, that's a weird one. Have you guys gotten much into the Baldwin one? That was a fun one. Speaking of Trooper Proctor having to read all of his stuff, when they had the prosecutor on the stand for the Baldwin trial, I'm like, you don't like Mr. Baldwin very much, do you? And she's like, I have the utmost respect for his work, and I even agree with him on some of his political stuff, and blah blah blah. And then they're like, isn't it true that you called him a quote cocksucker?
That was why if I recall, I was actually getting ready to do one of my lives when the prosecutor took the stand in that, because you messaged me and Beckham and we're like, watch this now.
It's so funny. I was watching it. I was like, well, in his face when he's looking at it, he was like, because he was like looking down or looking off to the side or something. He's like, isn't it true that you called him a cocksucker? And then Alec Baldwin's just like,
Unbelievable.
Oh man,
unbelievable.
But that's the way of these courts, right? It's not what's true. It's not even what you can prove at this point. It's who's the better lawyer and who's got the most like firepower when it comes to law enforcement and all this stuff, because they can just not give people stuff, right? Like in the Alec Baldwin trial, they hid that whole thing of ammo.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's so nobody's ever playing with a fair deck. It's just never usually like under the microscope and quite so visible at the time. It's usually like hindsight, not during.
Mm-hmm. I just want to apologize in advance. I can hear Tuka snoring, so if it picks up on my,
I wish I could hear him snoring.
Yeah, two of my cats snore, so it's kind of funny. Hey Corey, good to see you. Allison's responding, Paul, to your talk about the Alex Baldwin.
It was so
case.
sick. It was so crazy. Like that whole thing was so Hollywood. Anything like that is just, you just see it. You just see them all like trying to cover for themselves, and just it's no wonder there's tar pits there.
God. So there's a few other things to talk about in regards to the Karen Read case. Liz, did you want to update us on kind of a little jump off of that with your notes?
It's funny. It's kind of not really Karen Read related, but obviously, as we've just been discussing, it is Karen Read related. So the first thing that I wanted to give an update on, and there's not really much of an update, the Brian Walsh case. Brian Walsh was the South Shore man who killed and cut up his wife on New Year's Day in 2023. Allegedly, let's say allegedly. Her coworkers reported her missing when she didn't show up in Washington, D.C. like she was scheduled to. After about a week or two of back and forth with her husband, they ended up arresting him and charging him with lying to the investigators and then murdering and dismembering her at home, like while their kids were there. So no body was recovered, but they did do searches at several like dumpsters and like dumps in the area. So this is a whole other thing I could get into some other time on an entirely like dedicated show to him.
Oh gosh, yes, we will.
Yeah. Well, he had an ankle monitor on because he had a federal like art theft and art scam case going on.
Art fraud,
so
yeah.
He was basically under house arrest. So this guy is so fucking stupid. They could see everywhere he went. There were places he was allowed to be, and like they could track him. He didn't even try to take the thing off. So they could see him doing all this driving on camera at Home Depot, buying like $500 worth of cleaning stuff, right? At his mother's house at the dumpster, at some other dumpster. Like there's cameras
He drove
everywhere.
her through the state of Mass, hitting up dumpsters.
Yeah, seriously. So anyway.
Quickly, I just want to add, so Paul, just because I know if Paul doesn't remember this case, and everybody in the chat, this was the one where he did all those searches on the iPad, his kid's iPad, how to dispose of a body and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's the one.
I kind of remember it, but like you say it's like funny that I'm on because I'm not into any true crime. It's funny that I'm the one on here to talk about Diddy because like I'm like it's like the backup singer moving up to the front of the band and only being able to like do certain parts, like lean in and go, yeah, because yeah, it's a weird one. It's weird that a lot of it I heard from like my friends' older brothers back in the day that were into rap. And now it's
Whoa.
coming
Slow
true.
it down.
I'm sorry. Okay,
Down.
go.
Man,
Slow it
you
down.
are
James Watson is getting all excited in the chat. He's been waiting for the Diddy talk. Let's get back to this alleged
the adjacent
Brian
Karen
Walsh.
Reed. Yes.
Right,
So
Brian Walsh.
So I was going to say, Danny, I listened to that podcast this morning. I did.
Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan.
Yes. And he was talking about this case. And the biggest thing that they were discussing was how they've been taking a long time doing some of this DNA testing. So I don't know much about this. Apparently, when a sample is small enough or like questionable enough in some way, you have to destroy it. You have to destroy the sample in some situations to do the testing. So you have to have like a representative of both sides there or something like that. So they're doing this like really detailed kind of fine tuning DNA testing. He said on the podcast, and I think, I mean, I agree, they wouldn't be bringing this case if they didn't have more evidence. So basically what we know at this point is from some of the searches and some of the dumpsters, they found some belongings of hers. I think they found like her pocketbook and like jewelry or something like that. Maybe some blood. I think maybe they recovered, I don't know if they recovered like a knife or something.
So there's hacksaw, bloody hacksaw.
Yeah, that's right.
Hell.
He did all this. He bought all this equipment on camera in a fucking Home Depot. He went home and he fucking cut her up and tried to bring her to all these different places with an ankle monitor on. Like what? Doing the searches on his kid's iPad. In the search warrant affidavits, they list out everything that happened. And they're like, is your 6-year-old, do you think, he didn't flat out come out and blame it on his 6-year-old, but they're like, is your 6-year-old of average intelligence? And he's like, I'd like to think so. Like that's his, I can't even believe it. So anyway, moving on from that. So there's all this testing that's been going on. I did confirm the hearing for Tuesday is on. So there is a hearing in this on this upcoming Tuesday. So I'm hoping something will happen. I don't know. I feel like it's been months and it's just been hearings and updates. So last December, Brian was considered, he was declared indigent by the court system. So that means he's either out of money and he can't pay his lawyer anymore, or I think his mother must have been paying his lawyer because I think his mother like has family money. She's another story too. So he was assigned a public defender, and this guy, Larry Tipton, took his case on, who's done some like kind of high profile defense. He did that Emmanuel Lopez. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
A couple years ago, he did that. He did another one like 10 or 12 years ago. Anyway, so he had to catch up on everything and come up to speed, but they're still doing all this testing. So anyway, where was I? Okay. So one of the last things that came out about this is his lawyer is requesting text messages related to the investigators that investigated this. And can we guess who some of the investigators involved were? The lead investigator at the start of this was none other than Michael Proctor. So he is potentially going to fuck this case up. And like the chances that he like texted something inappropriate to somebody else about this case, it's probably low. I mean, I don't know, people talk. But they also announced a couple weeks ago that the prosecution is not going to call him as a witness. So the lead investigator will not be called as a witness for this.
And there it goes.
Well, after they saw what he did to the other one, they're like, nah.
So they are not going to call him. I mean, he's fired. He's not even a trooper anymore. He's, like the investigation stands, but
damn.
So anyway,
that's crazy.
And then there was another case that had, I think, a hearing this week. It was a doctor a couple years ago that supposedly murdered his wife. And I'm watching this little spot on the news. It's a guy who was, I think he was like the head of a department at St. Elizabeth's or some hospital in Boston. So he recently had a new defense attorney come on over the summer who was requesting access to text messages from investigators. And Proctor and Bukaki also investigated that case. So I think this defense attorney has gone on the record saying, I don't know that there's anything related to our case in this, but just the delays and the paperwork, and like this woman that was murdered by this doctor, her family, it's been 4 years. It's been a while. So they're sitting here twiddling their thumbs, waiting for something to happen. And now this is going to just throw another wrench in the works, which is really a shame. So
crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
It's just trickle down.
Yay for Boston.
Yep. Yep.
Yay for Boston.
Yay for Boston. Well, you know what? It's interesting because it now seems that your guys' law enforcement is like an exact mirror image of how shitty the Bruins are. And so that's it's really good.
I was going to say, can you
Oh my God, I think his Wi-Fi cut out.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh.
Okay, Tony Stewart. Paul, what does your hat say?
Vancouver Canucks.
Stupid. So stupid. And for the record, Paul, don't get too excited about yay Boston, because you come from the beautiful country of the sweetheart deal known as Carla Homolka.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Didn't you say there's like 3 just in this one little thing, like right now with your?
Yes.
Not one from the fucking a long time ago. But no, I'm not gonna be like, oh, because Canada's so much better. Fuck that. Like everything here is super fucked too. I mean, the worst you can get is 25 years. I don't even think they're not allowed to give you. I don't think they're allowed to not give you chances at parole, like no matter what. And they fuck things up. So, oh man.
I didn't realize that's all.
Oh, there's a show tonight, he says.
The hell, Beckham? What
there he is.
Beckham, get in the damn thing, because we're going to talk about your boy Diddy.
Vancouver Canucks, yes sir, K-Dog.
Paul, I have to say you sound way more Canadian than I thought you would, and I don't know why that didn't occur to me. Because you're fucking Canadian.
Because I'm Canadian, but I
don't hear an accent with Paul.
He said sorry, and I'm like, oh, Canadian.
That's one of the words.
It's the sorry.
There's a few of them that hit home. Well, it's funny because we're a more mild version of the Canadian accent, where like the further east you go, it's like the oh yeah, fucking blah, like all that sort of stuff. But it's funny because you guys have such an ear for it that when Danielle came here, one of our waitresses that we had at a restaurant we went to was from out east, and she was like, wow, you have a really thick accent to her, and I didn't even notice it until afterwards, and then you can kind of hear it a little bit. How do I say decal?
Decal,
fucking decaf. Decal.
Hey, Russell.
Decal.
Yeah, the waitress, I was just like, oh my God, what an accent. And you and Fiddleford were like, what?
That's barely so hear it unless we really listen to it. Because it's close. Like there's certain things that line up. We just sound like weird, lazy surfers on the West Coast.
Well, there's a few words, rednecks. Liz, that's funny because when he says sorry, that's one of the words. He has a few that like, when he says it, I'm like, oh, Capone. Yes. Paul says project. It's project. No.
There's an E right there.
Oh God. It's
That's
project.
So weird.
It's
Anywho, let's not. We'll educate Paul in the English language after the show.
Say drawer.
Oh, so want to hear a funny story? I think this is a common thing for this area. I think I was almost an adult before I realized that it wasn't draw. Like the draw on my desk is like a draw. I literally think I was an adult before I realized, shit, that's not how you spell that word.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's how you spell like draw.
Yes. Yep.
Or like draw.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that when she said that, I was like, I says pardon? Like it's funny. That's a funny one.
And
Ninja intruders. Ninja Intruders was
The
good.
Ninja Intruders.
I said
Yeah.
that on the Jodi Arias episode, Ninja Intruders.
Oh yeah, that's
Paul,
right.
what about
remember
rum,
that.
like bedroom?
It's room.
Room.
2 O's don't make a U. Room.
You're going to like bedroom.
Bedroom.
I don't say bedroom.
It's like people in the is it the Midwest that say roof for roof?
Oh,
Yeah,
on the
that's
roof,
a.
I think that's a
Yeah.
Midwestern thing.
Hey, potatoes.
hey, small potatoes. It's a mass thing, dress or draws.
Yes.
Thank
you,
Thank
Allison.
you. English is, like it was a good subject in school for me. And I think when I realized that, I'm like, come on, what the fuck? But I'm glad it's really not just me.
Yeah. I also think it's funny, and I'm wondering because I say hey, and everybody goes for the A thing, and I'm wondering if it sounds more like A the further east you get. That might be. Wouldn't you know it? All right, before we bore the fuck out of everybody.
Actually, the numbers have gone up.
I was going to say, everybody's going to leave.
It's gone up, which is sad.
Warsh.
So sad.
That's a weird one. Yeah, the out east they say warsh.
Oh, I think that's a Midwest thing too.
Is it? Yeah, that was a
Weird.
out east to here.
Oh man. All right, we can do a whole episode on educating Paul how to speak correctly. I'm all for it if you guys want to do that at a later time, but let's quickly do one more Massachusetts one. With the corruptness.
Wicked smart.
Wicked smart. And then Paul can talk about Diddy, because I think Beckham's still, I don't know if he's trying to figure out what candle to light, and he won't, I don't know.
He's matching scents right now. For Diddy, he needs the baby lotion and sadness. That's what he's gonna put on the candle. He'll light it up, and then
God.
with a hint of cinnamon.
God.
Baby oil scented candles.
Yeah. It's so gross.
The amount of like memes and videos on Instagram and TikTok with that's in my feed, and I don't want to see it.
Everybody's finally like, we can talk about it. It's because it's been so long. It's been so long that it's been rumor, and now he's getting arrested for the rumors. And then you've got videos coming out of like him doing like beating the fuck out of his ex.
I saw that. Oh
yeah, and it was out in the hallway.
Ventura, yeah.
And the thing that's interesting is people were like, how could he fucking nobody came out? How could nobody come out? It's because he'd rent the entire floor of this place. And it wasn't like the high level buildings, right? Like, so he could afford to just get the whole, he could afford it anyway, but he could afford to fucking demolish it. But one of his, sorry, I'm going to go off on this.
Let's just talk about it now.
Should we go ahead and dive on in, Danny? Is that what we should do? All right. So
you don't have to, when you say it, you have to like have that special something in your eye and kind of put the cleavage a little out there. And you're not doing it, Paul. I'm not feeling it.
Oh, my cleavage, though it is plentiful, is definitely not breathtaking in any way, other than like you'll die from like shock.
Todd, high and run. High and run.
What's shaking, Gittins?
Let's get interactive with Diddy. All right, Paul. Yeah, let's talk about it. Go ahead.
All right. So, P. Diddy. Holy moly. When I was a kid, when I was in like grade 7, I think grade 7.
So little
8,
Gothic Paul.
Little Gothic Paul, who could give two flying fucks about rap music in any sense of the imagination. I did eventually start to like it. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. That's nowhere near as interesting. So but my friends, like older brothers, were super into it. Like I remember when Biggie and Tupac got shot because they were talking about it. And I remember them talking about weird stuff to do with P. Diddy. And I was like, the dancing guy, like the fucking like P Diddy, and they're like, yeah, they're like that guy is. They're like, and it's funny too because then 50 Cent comes out and like starts calling him gay, but they were saying he was back then too, and they were saying there was like weird stuff with Usher, and now that all this stuff's coming out, it's like, holy crap, how did that get to the island? Like, how did that stuff get through the grapevine all the way out here in the 90s? Just the weird shit that he was doing. But like, that's the weird thing about those squeaky clean images. Do you guys know who a lot of rappers say is the most dangerous rapper in the entire game? MC
Who?
Hammer.
What?
MC Hammer is so gang affiliated into his own family that like if you said something hard like rough about him, he'd be like low voice sort of thing, be like, you really don't want to do that. Like he had the clout to like fucking kill people. And it's MC Hammer. And so the thing with P Diddy having this like squeaky clean image, meanwhile, he's like throwing these throwing these parties that are like over the top anyway, but then after the party there's the freak off parties, which you know, if you can throw a rock and hit 700 explanations of what those things were. But basically what I'm getting is that Diddy was like a hardcore addict, and him and his woman, any of his women, would go off and like spend a couple of days to a week in a hotel just like doing major amounts of drugs, and then like he'd end up like beating the shit out of her, and it was just like total like junkie mentality, but you have so much money. So then these freak offs was just leaning into that depravity, but then you've got that he was like videotaping people, and
They all didn't know they were being videotaped.
No. And like having, what's it again? Squeaky clean, the lube. But it's one of those weird things that now that it's happening, it makes you look at everything he did differently. You have to look at like Usher and Bieber and Biggie and stuff, just like under a totally different light. Like, and see how much he was trying to push something different out there about himself.
I just want to add about these women who were getting these hotel rooms. What I've been reading about and learning also is that after the freak offs, these women would have to be in a hotel or motel, whatnot, for like a week after, just to recover for like, 'cause they would be covered in bruises.
That was his Cassie, the woman who was in the video.
Cassie
That
Ventura,
that was in her charges against him, was that she one time he like fucked her up so bad that he put her up in another hotel and she couldn't come out until like the bruises and stuff were gone.
Shit.
But there was people were talking about him beating and dragging women and doing all this sort of stuff, and then you see it. Oh, he deserves everything. He's the stuff he's done. People talk about him like taking advantage of the younger boys he was working with and stuff like that. Like there's all sorts of stuff, but then there's also like racketeering and like stuff he can get really charged with. He's like federally fucked. And he's not going to get off even if he turns people in. Unless it's like somebody huge. But if it's somebody huge to the point where they would let him go, I think he'd be suicided at that point. I don't think you can get past Diddy. Like, I don't think you can get past Weinstein, right? Like, you've got a certain level that these people can go down, and if anything else happens, like, I don't know nobody knows. And the Epstein thing is just so fucking, you could speculate forever. But, you know, he could have taken down like people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's just no way you can let that happen. Like fucking JFK, Jack Ruby takes out Oswald. And it's just, you clean the mess right away. Nothing can get back to anybody about anything if you take care of it like that, and especially when it's at that level.
Mhm.
And so with P. Diddy, like, celebrities are great and all, but it's not like, unless they're taking down a big bunch of them that are all connected and can blow up a big drug trade, I don't think there's going to be a bunch of them going down. If a bunch of them didn't go down for going to Epstein's Island, there's no fucking way. There's no way that they're going to be taken down for going to one of P. Diddy's fucking crack den, like, weird orgy cuck situations.
Yeah. It's like you said, this is one of those, like, not so secrets. So it's one of those who have worked for him, like, especially I'm blanking her name. She's like his main assistant. Like, you know, she like knows, like, we know that he has staff people who know more. Are they going to be smart enough to turn against him, or are they going to be loyal and go down swinging with him?
Well, you had a lot of, sorry, go ahead.
No. If the ratings are going to go down again to everybody, I apologize. Look who decided to pick a scented candle and join us.
No kidding. What's going on?
Oh, see, there's two. I knew he was mixing and matching. I knew it. I don't
think that's two candles.
Oh, it's a mirror. Oh, it's so it can feel like a cathedral.
Well, Beckham, thank you for joining us.
Oh man, it's been a rough.
How you doing?
Good. It's been a rough last night, today, so I'm here. I made it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was rough for you. I know we've been messaging off camera. How many stores have you been hitting up for baby oil and you just can't find any now? I don't know.
Well, speaking of baby oil, hold on. Speaking of baby oil, so 1,000 bottles of baby oil, right, were found. Diddy's lawyer came out and said this week that he just got him from Costco, or
because he lives near a Costco.
Yeah,
is that literally what they said?
Literally, the Costco made it a point to say that they do not sell baby oil in bulk per TMZ.
Oh, that's funny.
So Diddy's lawyer was caught in a lie this week. So that's negative. They're already like in the negative.
Puff Daddy is not shopping at Costco.
And
what?
It's so funny too, because they're like, because everybody just says it's baby oil. The thing was 1,000 bottles of baby oil and other lubricants, right? Like, there was all sorts of weird freaky shit. Fucking, but that's so funny that Costco was like, whoa.
Right. Yeah, they did.
Don't
they
bring
came,
us
they made
in
a statement.
here,
yeah, they made a statement about it. On Wednesday.
That's amazing.
And it was reported by TMZ. So it was a real deal. Speaking of the baby oil, have you guys already started talking about Diddy and everything?
We just did, yeah.
Oh, there's like so much stuff going on. I don't even know where to start.
Quickly, Paul, was there any other points about Diddy that you had before Beckham takes over?
One of my one of the craziest things about Diddy, I don't know if they can prove it, but it was like, what the fuck, was, Kid Cudi?
Yeah.
He said he wanted somebody to blow up Kid Cudi's car, and then the next day Kid Cudi's car blew up in his driveway, and like the guy is just up to some shit. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, that was the one, because I remember, Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car. Yeah, for sure. That's so crazy. Or had it done. He didn't fucking do it.
Yeah. Quickly, sorry, Beckham, before you start, Allison made a comment, and Paul, I've been meaning to ask you about it, but I keep forgetting. But Allison put it in here. Where is it? Yeah, Eminem wrote some crazy lyrics about him. Are you familiar with that, Paul? Too? Yeah.
Yeah, all of them. The back in the day, the one that like you can see reaction videos of people being like, what the fuck was on the MGK diss. What was it called again? Kill Shot. He's saying something. He's like, but Kels, the day you put out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put out the hit that got Pop killed. And everyone was like, what the fuck? Because like everybody knows, but nobody wants to say anything. And then and he said it in that one. And that was how many years ago was that? That was years ago. And then this new one is wild. This new one, he just goes off on him and just talks about he's like, you didn't just spell rappers and leave out a P, did he? Like, it's like, oh, fuck. And all this stuff. Yeah,
hey, Shelly. Oh.
and who do I see? Paul. Hey, Paul.
I love how it's like beautiful Danny, amazing Liz, handsome Love Beckham, Paul.
and Paul. Yeah. Hello.
Sounds about right.
Hello, Shelly.
All right, Beckham. I know I think the breaking announcement from Costco is news enough, but carry on.
Okay, so I wanted to know who was going after Diddy. So it's the United States, or it is the Southern District of New York's, United States Southern District of New York is the one who's going to be prosecuting Diddy and whoever else they're going to bring forward and charge. There could be charges against people that he's close to, his kids. It could be his family. It could be close associates, his friends. Now, the thing about the Southern District of New York is that they have a successful history going against and bringing, forward, successfully charging gangsters, Gotti. I mean, you name it. They have a successful scorecard against these types of criminals. So he's batting, Diddy's going up again. He's going to have his battle here, man. And his lawyer is going to have an uphill battle here because they are proud of their success rate that they have against gangsters and all these other, high profile criminal cases that they've successfully prosecuted. So the current U.S. attorney that is Damian Williams. He's the department executive U.S. attorney. I was listening to a assistant U.S. attorney who's now has moved on, but he was with that office for 20 years. And he was kind of briefing on the case, and he was talking about something very, very important here. So what could happen is, as far as Diddy goes, is because I think this week there was another woman who came forward and filed a case against Diddy. I think making it 11 now. I think 11. I believe that's the number is 11.
I'm pretty sure.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think that's the number is 11. So what he was saying, and what this was interesting to me, is that because these charges are on the federal level, is that the minimum with good, if he were to get, prosecuted, charged successfully, that he could face up to life, right? And with good behavior and all that, he would minimum serve 12 years. I think that's what he was talking about. So at least the minimum would be 12 years. Even with good behavior, it would be not less than 12, maximum to life. They would also, the U.S. government would completely take control of all assets, all the companies, everything, and wipe him completely gone of everything. All the businesses that he has, everything, all his money would be gone. So they are coming hard after him. And I believe the reason that they are is because of the evidence that they have. I know, Paul, I think before I was coming on, getting my headset on, you were saying that, that you could see this going a certain way with with his profile, that type of profile, Epstein-ish type of thing. But yeah, man, this Southern District of New York is a heavy hitter. They have a success rate, and they're coming hard after Diddy. and it's going to take a while. It's going to start to slow down a bit, only because they're gathering all the evidence. Remember, Homeland Security is the one that raided. They're the ones that raided his houses. The FBI has all of the evidence. If they're gonna they're gonna use it, they need to subpoena that evidence. I think I was talking about that last week, so that could take time as well. And I know how that takes time myself because I deal with that stuff. It's kind of channeling through the channels of government. Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna take a while. It's gonna slow down here. Now, while it slows down, we're gonna hear all a bunch of crazy stories, and that's what I've been kind of hearing, a lot of craziness going on to who he could have potentially hurt. The list goes on with that. You're seeing a lot of Justin Bieber stuff out there. You're seeing a lot of stuff, like in music, like you guys were talking about, rapped, sang about, wrote about, that kind of thing. The craziest thing that I've heard so far, I know we were joking about the baby oil, but was how they were supposedly drugging people. And that was like kind of like with some form of ecstasy put into the actual oil, which is crazy in itself, but at the same time dangerous, because how would you have known how much to use on or put on somebody with a potential overdose? I mean, and how many people I was thinking about this today, and I saw somebody talking about it on social media, is we don't know how many people probably overdosed at these parties. And we never heard of these people, right? And they might have died. And what did they do with the bodies? Or what did they do? How did they get rid of? I guarantee you they're probably, and throughout, if what we're hearing is true, throughout 20 years or 25 years of this going on, right? And experimentation of these drugs and that type of thing, you would have had to have had some sort of overdoses. You would have had, it's going to happen with the magnitude of these parties and the magnitude of people that are attending these parties. What happened? Did they make it out okay? Did they die? If there were secret deaths, what happened to them? What happened to these bodies, right? Which is really, really eerie and really, really scary at the same time.
Who is it? Someone up there. K-Dog put Chris Como did a interview with Suge Knight about Diddy the other day. A guy named this weirdo Patrick Bet David. He's like a turbo conservative guy, does a podcast. He did like an hour and a bit with Suge Knight. And because Como's was like 15 minutes. It was like the length of one call. But he did this big long one with Suge Knight. And it's so funny. And it's just so funny that now Suge Knight, who there's video of him running someone over, and he would hang people out of fucking windows. What's it get to fund? Do you guys know how his record label started, Death Row Records?
Why don't you inform all of us?
It was funded by Vanilla Ice. And he hung Vanilla Ice because Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, made so much money. And Suge Knight and his people hung him out the window of this
just sign it over. Yeah, he signed it
over his rights. And and so that's how Death Row started, was they got all this money through that and started it. But the funny thing now is all these people are like, oh, Suge Knight, tell us how bad P. Diddy is and how good you were and how just a straight up businessman. And he's just like, yeah, now people can see it. It's just so funny.
Matter of fact, Como said, somebody asked because I was listening to that ex-U.S. attorney talk, and he was like, no, you don't want to listen to him at all. You're not going to, do not use him in court. Do not take his word for anything because he was a bad guy. He was a very, very bad guy. Yeah. So to your point, Paul, that U.S. attorney did talk on that point, not to listen to anything that guy was saying.
He's
just over the top. He was just over the top too. Yeah, right.
Well, and the funny thing is too, then I hear him talking about just like in a normal way, talking about Eazy-E when he was on fucking what's it called again? Arsenio Hall back in the day, talking about how somebody stuck Eazy-E with an AIDS needle, and just like alluding to that he knew that he got stuck with an AIDS needle. And it was so funny.
There's so many like myths about Eazy-E's death, like conspiracy theories. That's like, and that's one of them.
Yeah, I mean the funny thing, like, he wasn't an intravenous drug user. He did fuck around a lot unprotected.
He made a statement before he died. That's how he.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
But yeah, it's funny. So that was, I just thought that was funny that two people had him on, and the way they were talking to him was like, oh yeah, and it's just like, no.
The U.S. attorney guy was like, do not listen to him, and you can take it for what it is. It's just a form of entertainment. The guy's in prison for a reason. The guy has a podcast from prison come on, man, like seriously, do not any prosecution or defense, or they're not going to use them in any form in court, because then you're basically making your own case look hideous if you did that, right? I mean, come on. So it was just, but it was entertaining on Thursday. I think it was yesterday, I believe, or it was either Wednesday or Thursday when he made the statement. So it added entertainment and added entertainment value to this horrible story that we have before us, because. I know we make jokes and I know we share memes and stuff, but there's just a lot of bad stuff that's going on with that's going on with this case. And again, it's gonna slow down. Let the U.S. government do its due diligence in the investigation, gathering all the evidence, and then you will probably start seeing formal charges go forward, and they're going to be getting people. I think they're going to really get people, which is kind of. And we'll see who was associated with him. Like, will any other famous people be brought on charges? That kind of thing. Who knows? But all we can do now is speculate and go on with all the stories that are out there. And another particular story, real quick, is that I've been hearing or reading that he had tunnels in his houses in LA, kind of similar. The whole Playboy thing came up again this week, about similar tunnels that were built at the bottom, underneath their homes. And I've always told you guys about the secret dungeons in these Hollywood houses.
Oh my God, Beckham!
Secret dungeons in Hollywood houses. This is amazing.
And Danny thought I was crazy until she literally figured it out herself.
Until she literally went to one.
Liz. Okay, no, side note, Liz needs to know. So when Beckham, me, and Paul did our LA trip, Beckham's driving around and he's like pointing to these houses and I'm like, bet that one has a sex dungeon. Bet that one has
They do.
And she didn't believe me, but then when I first met Danny in May of 2021 in LA, we stayed at a Airbnb, and it was nice, and it was in West Hollywood, so it was closer to a lot of that stuff, right? To the scene and everything. And we're just sitting there in the kitchen, and that was when we were driving around. I was telling them, hey, that house has one. No, but that one looks like it has one. And sure enough, this dude walks out of the side of the wall. Literally the wall opens, and he walked out, and there was a room in there.
Like a secret door.
Yeah, it was a secret door. Yeah, out of the wall. Yeah, and it was by Danny's bedroom that she had stayed. Yeah.
Right after her, this chick came out with a peg leg and a ball gag. It was
But after that, Danny never doubted me ever again.
Nope.
I would never say that. But
I was right. I was.
Oh,
So there's a
man.
lot of talk, Beckham, and y'all, I want all of you guys' thoughts on this. There's a lot of talk about Puffy in regards to, like, and everybody's just saying, will he get Epsteined? Like, everybody's talking about that.
I don't think so.
No, and the thing is with him, like, you hear a bunch of people talking about how, well, he's famous, so they're putting him in the suicide watch, and like suicide watch isn't like protective custody. It's you don't have any clothes on. You're in like a padded room with nothing that you can kill yourself with, and they come back and check on you, and you have to have been like you have to be like fucking yourself up in some way, and then really think, not just say I'm gonna kill myself, actually like really look like something's gonna happen there. And so they put him in
made
there.
a comment that like, oh, this is just standard protocol or something. I don't think so.
Well, I was one of the people that was talking was one of his ex, not like his bodyguard, but a security person who is also a parole officer, who was talking about it and says this is how that sort of thing works. There's like protective custody, which is where they would put somebody famous, and then there's like suicide watch. And if you think about it, like, it's tough to think about P. Diddy as a human being because of all the inhuman things and the way he was living. But like, he went from like mansions and every single thing he wants and all this stuff to his life is over now, and he lives in a cell in jail. That's it.
Yep.
And so now this guy with this huge ego, this huge narcissist, is now nothing. And so like, if someone was like, he's suicidal, I'd be like, yeah, no shit. The Epstein thing is different because there's so many. I mean, we don't know with Diddy, but there was so many politicians and like really like
world leaders,
world leaders and rich people
with
like
real power, right? With real power.
But P. Diddy is just P. Diddy. It's like, it's just celebrities. Which I say.
No, go ahead, Paul.
No, it's just for me, it just seems like it's kind of different levels, right? Like I was saying to them, I don't think there's anybody he could turn in to get himself off.
I agree.
Right? Without being assassinated. I don't think, like, because the people he's like heads of Warner Brothers, heads of anything like that shit doesn't matter. And and that sort of stuff. But like with Epstein, like you say, the world leaders and like people that it would fucking make a big difference if they were found out. Whereas like a bunch of Hollywood people go down for being perverts, everyone's like, yeah, and like every once in a while you see one, you're like, ooh, shit, that's crazy. Right. But it's still like Hollywood, so it's not something that hits as hard as like, you know, the fucking old Boris Yeltsin with a fucking Frankfurter in his keister. It's a bit of a different scenario.
Paul, your analogies are just
what Paul's trying to say is that there's a difference between here, I'm going to back you up, Paul. What Paul's trying to say is that there's a difference between entertainment power, entertainment being Hollywood and the music industry, and political power. The difference between the two is political power is when you're able to start and maintain wars. That is the difference. Okay. Two completely different things.
Make or break societies.
Yeah, exactly. War. That's it. It's start and then maintaining a war, right? That's what there lies the difference. He was, of course, was on the entertainment side. Of course, good friends. I mean, I've always talked about Oprah. Oprah is one of the most powerful people in the world. However, is she the only thing that Oprah could probably, her extension of power, she's a very powerful person in the world, and she does have an extension onto the political side, is to where she can probably suggest a potential president of the United States, that if she could probably say, hey, I think this, she could push somebody into the limelight, right? But but she can't put that person there. You see,
Yeah,
there's a difference, right? But
she has
still has
influence
that extension.
over the
masses. She has the
masses.
influence and an extension, right? But can she start a war? Can she put somebody in a position of power? No, but she still is one of the most powerful people in the world. Right?
She's so greasy too. There's so many like pictures of her with P. Diddy and like
with everybody.
Epstein and everybody.
Everybody. So yeah, there's a major difference. And I don't think he's not gonna get Epstein, only because again of the ego. And they have the complete right to have this ego and be proud of what of their history. Is that Southern District of New York's U.S. Attorney's Office? They want to take him down. They want to have him under their notch, and they will not allow him to get Epstein in their own in their custody. It ain't gonna happen.
He's not worth getting caught over. Epstein
and that too,
was worth getting caught over.
Yeah,
because of the amount of people that
political on the other side. He had political. Yeah, right.
Yeah. The other thing, what was I just going to say again? Like with Oprah and with all of them, it caps out, and I think that like with Weinstein, there's still a whole bunch of people that knew and that were involved and stuff that didn't go down, but he went down as the figurehead for the whole like Me Too movement. Right. There's tons of people that didn't, but he did. And I think that that's kind of how the entertainment thing works. So Diddy will go down and anybody else that they figure won't hit the bank too hard. It's like P. Diddy made a lot of money for people, but as far as relevance goes to the general population, he wasn't really.
And again, I think also it's going to be the duty, and I hate to say this might come out wrong.
Fair potatoes.
It could be the duty of the Southern District of New York's U.S. Attorney's Office to maintain the security of the country. If Diddy did have an extension into that side of the political side, it will not come out. It cannot come out, only to protect, America.
If he has a connection to a political side or something
they'll
big like that,
hide it. They'll hide
if
it.
he does die, like because he's a loudmouth, and so if he does, then something would happen. But I mean, I doubt it. But it's like Spoiled Potato says, we don't know. It just seems like Epstein, for sure.
It's a matter of national security.
It's a matter of national security.
It really is. It really is.
And then, I don't know, man. It's pretty.
That's when it gets cloudy. That's when it goes. Yeah. That's when it can get really cloudy. And trust me, when you're dealing with people in government, it's not an easy thing. It's not. You're dealing.
Yeah. I don't even know. Yeah. With the way that the prisons are now, do you think that a celebrity could pay somebody to go in and like let a prisoner get whacked, especially one as high profile as Diddy? Or do you think that would have to be like with Epstein, it would have to be somebody that could have sway over an entire prison?
I agree.
That's like, I don't think you could just be like grease a bunch of palms. It would get out. Mm-hmm. Those are different for me, like politics and that stuff and like that sized money. That's a completely different world than we're in. It's in the same world, but it's not here. Right. It's a completely different universe.
You're dealing with generational wealth too. And generational wealth is completely different than you making
stuff that's not out in the front.
Right.
Yeah. Like the celebrities are all there, like putting all this stuff out in the front and doing all this stuff. And I'm not saying that they're not powerful and that celebrities aren't in another world than we are, but it's not the same. It's not earth shattering. There's not, I don't think there's any of them that could like topple a country,
No. Taylor Swift couldn't say, hey, I want to go and, attack China.
No, she could sway a bunch of people like voters, popularity.
Teenage girls.
Yeah, she could play some things. Well, you know what's funny is I thought that too, and then I looked and I was like, wait, it was all because she was 16 when I was in my early 20s, I guess.
Oh, you're so old.
Oh, I'm fucking really old. Yeah, and now, so all those people are all like voting age now, and so it's funny, but like.
She's like Oprah. Yeah, she can.
Yeah, like Oprah.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the thing is there's political sway, but it's not like someone who could reach in and fuck with an election,
right?
Or like stuff like that.
Yep.
That's the big difference is the people that can sway the part of it that we have something to do with, and then the people who are like fuck everyone, I can just do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Question, and you guys might not know this answer. Was it said when they intend to like bring this to trial? I know trials take years to
take a while.
Potatoes.
I haven't even heard of a possible date yet.
Neil Young is the only honest Canadian I know. Oh my god! You know, I'm gonna give you a star.
Doesn't he sing "Coming to America"?
Just a dick. No, who? Neil Young? I don't know.
Who sings "Coming to America"?
So they didn't say when they intend.
No, they got a lot to do, Danny. There's a lot to do. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh no! I'm sure. And in the meantime, like he's not getting out on bail, so he's just gonna sit in
there's
jail.
A lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, there's a lot of work. Oh, and then there's the channels of getting the evidence from the FBI of the siege. They don't have that yet. They don't have that in front of them yet. That in itself is going to take time.
Yeah. God.
This is going to take longer than the Karen Reed case.
Oh man, it could take a long time. I wonder if it's going to be broadcast like all these other ones.
That they want it to be broadcast, yeah. So people want it to be broadcasted, like what's his name? With the Johnny Depp's case. Remember how Johnny Depp's case was all in, it's
him and Amber Heard,
in there, yeah. People are gonna want this one to be just like that, open, whatever, to the public.
This one will be as big as OJ's, but not like a murder case. This one's gonna be way bigger than Amber Turd and fucking Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
It's like, it's gonna be really intense.
But because it involves so many women who are, drugged, sex trafficked, you can't show
the RICO charges, man. Those are the ones that are going to the lifer charges. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm going with, Allison. Federal cases can't be public.
They will. They were thinking. There's somebody brought up the possible chance that they want to be, you never
want to and could they are two different things though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, would I like to see it?
I could find out. I'll ask and find out. My lord.
Tony Stewart says no cameras.
No cameras.
Yeah, I don't think federal cases can be public, but it would be the biggest case on TV since OJ.
Crime of the century.
It'd be a circus. It'd be a fucking circus. People would be waiting, like frothing at the gash for some fucking celebrity to go down in flames.
So, Paul, since I have you on here, who do you, and we know now what Playboy stood for and what happened there. And they had drugs too. It doesn't matter the decade. There was drugs and same kind of thing going on. Mm-hmm. Who do you think, who in your book is worse?
Diddy. He beat the fuck out of these women. Mm-hmm. And like Hugh Hefner was mentally abusive and a total fucking crazy narcissist and did horrible things and was like a cuck like him. But P. Diddy like fucking, and who knows, probably Hefner had people killed. Who knows?
Oh, I'm pretty sure of it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they both probably did, more likely. Yeah, for sure.
But like Diddy just would beat the fuck out of women. That was his thing. Like a bunch of his people, like his security people and stuff like that. So that was his thing, and that's a really it's like a weak man thing where you like really fucking you have to beat on women. But he never beat on guys. But apparently he'd take advantage of smaller guys or younger guys or people that didn't have as much power as he did.
Sure.
The guy just had these, and yeah, so it's a Diddy. Yeah. Long story long, Diddy, for sure.
Agreed. Liz?
Yeah, I agree. Guys, I'm going to take this chance to jump out. I got to be at work early tomorrow. So,
Ugh.
yeah, I'm not going
I
to.
think I got to go too, so we should just wrap this thing up, Dan.
No,
Let's
I
go.
don't want you guys
Places
to wrap it
to
up.
go. Liz ruined
Dude,
it, and
Thanks,
now we
Liz.
have to
Appreciate
no,
you
I'm just
keeping the show running earlier.
Dude, it's 10:30 here. So what is it? 7:30, Paul?
Yeah, it's late. Got
It's
shit
late?
to do. I gotta go cuddle my dog.
Oh, well.
That's fair. All
Well,
right.
thank you, Liz, for joining.
Thank you for
and,
having me. I will try to come on again next 2 weeks. I don't think I can. So sometime later in October, maybe we'll reconvene.
Awesome. Sounds good.
So,
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Liz.
Bye, boys. See you later.
See ya.
Good night.
Notice she
Yeah.
didn't say bye, men.
Yeah. Bieber, yeah, they say Bieber's shutting down. He's having like hardcore trauma about this. There was
Usher,
a
too.
well, Usher fed Bieber to fucking Diddy after being fed to Diddy by somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Those are some crazy stories.
Look at
Paul
Bunga
trying to
cast.
take charge. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Paul, if you need to bounce, feel free to bounce.
That's it, right? It was Diddy was the last case.
Yeah,
no, I actually had like 2 or 3 more, but that's
What?
okay.
Oh, I thought I was coming in at the last case.
No, you're stuck here now, bitch.
I gotta go. See y'all later.
No, but yeah, as far as the Diddy stuff goes, it's horrendous, and it's going to get more horrendous, and it's going to be it's going to be another really weird one to watch. Is it one of those things too where here, let's get conspiratorial? What aren't we supposed to be looking at right now? Because whenever something like this happens in the entertainment industry, there's always like a war starting or some fucking thing happening in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when they were having like the Amber Turd and fucking Johnny Depp stuff, it was like instead of the war that was going on.
With the Ukraine? Was it when
Ukraine,
we invaded, or when the Ukraine or Russia invaded Ukraine? Is that what was happening?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so when all that stuff was happening, that was on. And so now we're gonna be watching this, and then it'll be like, and so invaded something. But did you see the amount of bottles of lube that Diddy had?
Well, it's an election year.
Not
dude.
from Costco.
And we're only like a month. We're only like a month and a half from the election.
Oh,
dude!
I like my favorite new.
Get your
Diddy
guns
meme.
ready, bullets ready.
Yeah. Oh, the fucking holy cow! Ours is so boring. Ours is just people being like, yeah, I watch your guys' and it's like fire and brimstone and everything's crazy. And I watch ours and they're like, yeah, fuck you, man. Yeah. It's just so chill. The one leader's like, you can't do your job, buddy. And the other leader's like, I can do my job, buddy. You can't do your job, buddy. Just
wow, that's really riveting.
According to Trump today, he said it takes 2 to tango.
We're not doing politics. We're not doing politics.
He was talking about what's his name and Putin. That was dude because he met with him today. He's like, yeah. He looked at I don't know how to say the other guy's name, the guy from Ukraine. Yeah, and he was looking at him. He's like, yeah. Well, it takes 2 to tango.
The stuff he says is so ridiculous. But everything they say, I'm waiting for. You know which one I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for Dwayne the Rock Johnson 2028. That's going to be my year to get into it, and everyone's going to be like, U.S. rocks. That's going to be the new red hat.
Oh, God.
2028.
Do you smell? Come on.
Yeah, he just looks
on,
at
Danny. You're a wrestling fan. You remember The Rock?
I met The Rock, and when I met him, I kissed him on the cheek.
Really? You met The Rock?
Yeah, when I was 14.
Wow.
He did an autograph signing in my area.
United States? That's incredible. He's going to come out and he's going to,
What's it called?
USA rocks.
USA.
It's a red hat. And it's just, he's like, and he comes out and he like fucking body slams the body double of his opponent through the fucking thing. Yeah. And he's just like, And it would be funny if it was like Joe Biden coming back.
Zelensky, that's it. Zelensky, yeah, the Z guy.
All right. Enough politics stuff.
Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna take my politics elsewhere. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Paul, for joining.
Are
And
we all
thank
leaving
you
for tonight? All right, guys.
getting us up to date before Beckham's right about P. Diddy. So thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was
Thank
fun.
you for having me,
always.
Danny.
You guys take care. Bye for now.
Are we ending the show?
No, Beckham, no.
Oh.
No. So, all right, let me just see what's left to update. I'll just give two quick little things here, and then we'll wind it down. So this has been all over the news, so I just wanted to briefly talk about it. Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins, he was that Kentucky sheriff who shot
Yeah.
District Judge Kevin Mullins. So what we have learned is that Mickey, as he prefers to be called, Kentucky sheriff, has pled not guilty after being charged with the murder in the deadly shooting of the judge. Again, Judge Mullins was shot and killed in his chambers around 3 p.m. on Thursday, September 19th. Police said he had multiple gunshot wounds and died at the scene. There were others in the building at the time of the shooting, but luckily nobody else was shot or injured or hurt. The Letcher County prosecutor has recused his office from the case. This is due to the personal and professional relationships with both the sheriff and the judge. So a preliminary hearing is set for Tuesday, October 1st. So that's just early next week. But yeah, that sheriff has pled not guilty.
Well, okay. So is it true why he shot him?
In regards to what? No, I've just read a lot of speculation so far, but nothing.
Okay.
Well, if he's saying he's not guilty, he's not saying, hey, I shot him because so on and so forth.
Well, the thing is that he had good reason to, and that reason was potentially that what I've heard out there or read out there is that the judge was having a sexual affair with his daughter.
Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I've heard as well.
So in his mind he did the right thing and that type of thing, right? So that could have him do the not guilty plea and that thing. So he could get what do you call it? So other, he can get on people can get on his side about it, and essentially. So I don't know. It's just something that we'll have to just kind of learn about. But that is the latest on that, and I could see a lot of people already saying, well, if that was the case, then he had all the right. But without
morally,
the law, morally yes.
Legally.
But then there's laws that go right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, right. So.
Yeah, I'm expecting, like, I did hear that. That was one of the kind of rumblings as to why. I've heard many things. That was one of them. I do expect whatever does come out as the reason or alleged reason, I think it's going to be big. Yeah. Something of, like, for example, that type of level of magnitude, not like, oh, we had a disagreement about it. Like, no, it's not going to be nothing petty. This was a very targeted killing. Because again, there were others in the building. They were not targeted. They were not attacked. They were not shot. Nothing. So this was a very specific target.
Yeah, and it seems like somebody had seen them together like the day before or something, and almost in a friendly exchange, right?
What happened?
Right, exactly. So it was shocking to some of what did happen the day after, right? That they saw them together. So. Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see. Maybe he found something out, man. I don't know. And it was kind of one of those passionate crimes, but that dealt with his daughter rather than like the spousal thing that we see all the time. So
yeah,
it's definitely a crime of passion, but in the sense of protection of your child.
If that's the reason, right? Yeah. We'll find out. And again, there's a preliminary hearing set for October 1st, so we'll see on that. And then just a quick update. We've not talked about this on this channel, but it's one I have been following, and it's just now been wrapped up. So this is one I'll give a little bit of a brief recap of it. And if there's one where you're like, oh, wow, we haven't talked about it here, I want to learn more, y'all can go down that rabbit hole. So Carly Gregg, 15-year-old Carly Gregg, she's been found guilty and sentenced to spend the rest of her life behind bars without the possibility of parole. She shot and killed her mother, Ashley Smiley, inside their home earlier this year, and then attempted to kill her stepfather, Heath Smiley. Prosecutors told the court that the shooting was carried out because Ashley, so the mother, had discovered that Carly was using drugs and had vape pens in her bedroom. After the shooting and killing her mother, Carly texted one of her friends asking her to come over to the house, saying there was an emergency. When the friend got there, she told the friend, basically, have you ever seen a dead body before? And then led the friend to the mother's body, and then saying her stepfather was next. Carly then texted her stepfather pretending to be the mom, saying, "When will you be home, honey?" When Heath, her stepfather, arrived home, she shot him in the shoulder, but he ultimately overpowered her, which obviously saved his life. She was arrested. Carly took off, was arrested about an hour later. And there is a video.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw the video. Yeah.
Yeah. Where
she's sneaky, man. She was sneaky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So y'all look at it if that's something you want to see. But you can see her hiding something behind her back just moments before walking to a back bedroom where the sounds of about 3 gunshots are heard, and her mother can be heard screaming, which is just heartbreaking. The defense tried to spin it as though Carly was experiencing significant mental health issues and that she was having a state of psychosis and an episode of acute stress when she was lost in it, and this was just like the perfect storm. That's what they're saying.
Right.
The defense urged the the jury to find her not guilty by reason of insanity. So I also watched where I wanted to see this myself, and I was kind of following it in and out in regards to watching the trial online, but I did see when her stepfather Heath took the stand, he has no recollection of the shooting. He said despite this, he and Carly still talk daily and that their relationship is, quote, good, end quote, which is incredible. This just goes to show what type of man Heath is. Ultimately, a jury found her guilty of killing her mother, guilty of attempting to kill her stepfather, and guilty of tampering with evidence. Carly cried in court when the jury found her guilty on all 3 counts. Again, she's going to spend the rest of her life in prison without the possibility of parole.
It's a mental health issue, man. She probably, that's sad what she did. She deserves to be in jail for the rest of her life. The reason the stepdad isn't, I believe, in communication with her is because she's not a threat to him.
I mean, he also doesn't remember.
Yeah, but what if he starts? But I don't know.
But that's not the daughter he knew.
Right.
Who we're all seeing, that's not the stepdaughter he knew.
Right. Yeah. Right. And again, that's where the psychology comes in, to where, and you can get deep into that. Like you said, the little girl that he helped raise, she had a moment, and inadvertently, that moment just caused her to really go on the deep end and unfortunately kill her mother. So she has to face, reality and law and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, she just had a moment to where it really, and it's sad that she fell to that deep, to where it in her own mind, her thought process was that was the right thing to do in that moment, or whatever, right? She had a disagreement, maybe was angry or whatever, and had a you can add the teenage moment into that, right? When you're, what was she, 13, 15?
14, and then now 15.
Come on, we were that age. Yeah, we were, right. All that kind of stuff going on. So it's unfortunate that, what the moment where that human moment where she kind of staggered into the weakness, ends up costing her life, where she'll spend the rest of her life in prison. It's unfortunate. It'd be like one of us. It could be one of us. We all done stupid things when we were teenagers. We could have, but we were fortunate that we're still here and alive and well, right? There's been a lot of people that have made mistakes that were not so lucky.
Mm-hmm. mistakes that had very
long
devastating
lasting
consequences.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
But
Again,
the
where
court-
the prosecutors are saying that Ashley discovered Carly was using drugs. There were vape
Right.
pens in her bedroom.
Yep.
We all, I mean, I'm an angel, so it doesn't apply to me. But in reality, have parents like every single child, no matter how good you are, parents have found something. Like that's not uncommon to find.
Right. Yeah. Oh, of course. You're gonna.
So to like go from, oh man, my mom found my vape pens, I'm gonna kill her and my stepfather. That's not this whole trial was about mental health. Let's just,
Sure.
For those of you who did follow it or are going to look further into it, if you're interested in learning more about it, it's mental health was a big focus.
Sure.
Do you agree with the prosecutors that she kind of knew what she was doing, or with the defense saying no, there's mental health here at play, and so on, and then so
Well,
on.
remember, the prosecution has a dead body on their hands, and they're trying to get justice. That's what their job is. Okay. The defense is there to say, hey, this is, again, they're the ones that have to kind of channel that whole adolescence, going on, the possibility of multiple personality, bipolar, whatever the mental health issue was, to have possibly given her a lesser sentence, because she did commit murder in the end, and she had to face the crime, the time to do the crime, the crime, do the time.
One thing that kind of really stood out for me, and I didn't see it talked about a lot. Like, again, I try not to read comments on posts and blogs. Like, I really don't want to go down those rabbit holes. But there was something with this trial, and I was like, I just want to see this one thing. And I didn't see it found really being talked about in the comments. And I'm like, is it just me? In the thing I'm getting at is the friend. So Carly texted her friend saying, come over here, there's an emergency. And then, hey, have you ever seen a dead body? Here's my mother. And then saying, my stepfather's next. And we're lucky, and the friend is lucky that she didn't become a victim in this too. Because but I'm thinking, so what happened when the friend left the house and I'm not putting this on the friend by any means. Carly is solely responsible for her actions. But I'm like, I don't know. I just wish there was more. Like, did the friend not say to a loved one or a parent, like, hey, or call 911 herself, like, so that the stepfather didn't have to be a victim in this too? I don't know. There's just a piece for me that's missing.
Yeah, that piece is that you're wanting to see the adolescents and the 14 to 15-year-old have a mental breakdown, when in essence she was crazy.
But to me, she knew enough. She was aware enough to step back to say to her friend, hey, come check this out.
Right.
Like,
she's crazy. The court,
I don't know.
And the prosecution went after her, and they nailed it. They got her life sentence.
Oh, they got it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right. You're right. There was something off there, and they probably used that to their advantage, or to kind of help them. We don't always know the entire story too, right, Renee? So, we don't know what was going on, but it was the prosecution's job to get. They had like I said, unfortunately, they had a dead body. They had a case, and they went full out, and they got it. And it's unfortunate that mental health, again, we've talked about that over a lot of these cases. And there you go.
Yeah.
She was a little
off.
off.
I'm leaning with you. That's where my mind is with this. But in the end, a 15-year-old is now going to spend the rest of her life in prison without the possibility of parole. So
well, don't those two go together?
What two? What are you talking about?
Crazy and then premeditated? She killed somebody.
What I'm taking from Capone, I don't want to, if I'm misunderstanding your comment, please correct me. I see that comment and I take it as she knew what she was doing.
Oh,
I don't think there was
no
guilty
psychotic
by
break.
reason of
There was
insanity.
no psychotic.
I'm sure she
breakdown.
has some type of mental illness,
Oh, okay.
but I think she was well aware enough to knew what she was doing was wrong.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
There are people that disagree, and that's okay.
No, you could be right. I'm just saying, dead body prosecution had as a dead body. They went for it all, and they got it. I mean, the other stuff you can argue back and forth and try to make sense of. But again, we weren't the stepdad. The stepdad was there, help raise her. God, I mean, some step parents feel like those children are their own. But there's sometimes that separation of, is that really my child? That's not my real child. And again, you can get into the deep psychology into that aspect of it, and you can get into the aspect of the potential, what mindset she was currently in, what she was dealing with, was she on, what type of drugs she was taking, did the drugs influence her mental state, with the adolescence of her age, that type, you said, all that, just all that swirl of emotion. Because it's a lot. It really is a lot. And
I'm sure
especially
this
as
wasn't
we
easy
get
for the
older.
jury.
Yeah, as usually as you get older, you can reflect back, and you get in your reflective years and be like, everything all of that wouldn't make sense to a 22-year-old, because a 22-year-old is still young in life, really, in reality of it, But yeah, it's just sad.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, 100% agree with you on that. So, all right, everybody. So that.
All right, K-Dog, that's the comment of the night.
I used to be a serial killer, and Jesus, Danny, we could go on for another hour at least. Oh my gosh, Tony, absolutely. So, a lot we talked about tonight. Beckham, you missed the whole Karen Reed stuff, but
sorry.
No, that's all right. We talk, again, me, you, Liz, and Paul. Off camera. There's just we talk a lot about the Reed case. So yeah, I know you're up to date on what's happened with everything in that. So you just weren't here to give your Beckham words of wisdom and opinions on the case, but there will be more, because Lord knows this is not out of the spotlight.
We'll get Karen Reed before we get Diddy. That's for sure.
Or we won't get Karen Reed, because there will not be a jury of 12 that will find her guilty. I'll tell you that. Mark my words. Again, there will be no True Crime and Chill next Friday, because I do have something going on that night, YouTube related. Stay tuned, and I will. So we'll figure out what night the True Crime and Chill will be. Could
you possibly see Mr. Beckham at the Karen Reed trial? That's a question to start asking yourself.
Could we see Mr. Beckham? One, no one can get inside the courthouse.
Well, nearby.
They might change where it's going to be.
I'm just going to drop my name and see what kind of access I can get.
Tony, when there's something very big, and it'll be, But Tony, I agree. You guys are more important. Lord, I would love to see, Channel 5, Channel 7, whatever. And they outside the Karen Reed courthouse today, for the trial. Then there's Mr. Beckham.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I would be watching being like, he didn't tell me he was coming to Boston. That's all right. You can stay with Auntie Mimi.
There you go.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another episode of True Crime and Chill. Thank you always, Mr. Beckham, for joining and for your research on Diddy. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to look up this whole Costco thing later. That was
Yeah, they made a statement about it. They were like, we do not sell baby oil in bulk. It's not us, dude.
When Costco gets involved and makes a statement like that, they're
you can only buy one bottle at a time. You can't buy a case of baby oil.
Beckham's like, oh, I know, I've tried. Now it's just, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. And remember, until next time, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. Bye, everyone.